In the heart of Pakistan's capital, where government buildings rise behind layers of security, a single explosion shattered the illusion of safety. On a quiet Friday afternoon, worshippers gathered in a Shia mosque for prayer, and met a fate no citizen of any nation should ever face. This is not just the story of a bombing. It is the story of a country born from hope, yet haunted by instability, sectarian violence, and the shadows of power. Today, we revisit Islamabad, not to reopen wounds, but to understand why they never truly heal. Islamabad 2026, a nation's wound, a region's warning. The unfinished story of a nation. Pakistan was born in 1947 with immense hope, a homeland for South Asia's Muslims, a promise of dignity, democracy, and self-determination. But from its earliest years, the country has struggled to reconcile its competing identities: military versus civilian rule, religious pluralism versus sectarian hardliners, and the pressures of Cold War geopolitics versus the aspirations of ordinary citizens. This week's suicide bombing in a Shia mosque on the outskirts of Islamabad is not an isolated tragedy. It is the latest chapter in a long, painful story of a nation caught between its ideals and its realities. The attack: what happened? On February 6, 2026, during Friday prayers, a suicide bomber entered the Khadija-ul Kubra Shia Mosque in Tarlai Kailan, a suburb of Islamabad. Security guards challenged him at the entrance. He opened fire, then detonated his explosives inside the prayer hall. At least 31 to 33 worshippers were killed and more than 160 to 170 injured. Television footage showed chaos, bodies on the carpeted floor, shattered glass, and worshippers screaming for help. Survivors described hearing gunshots, then a massive explosion that threw people across the hall. This was the deadliest suicide bombing in Islamabad in more than a decade. Who claimed responsibility? The militant group Islamic State, Pakistan Province, ISPP, claimed responsibility. They released an image of the attacker on their Telegram channel. Pakistan's defense minister stated that the bomber had a history of traveling to Afghanistan, a claim impossible to independently verify, but consistent with IS Khorasan's cross-border operations. Why this mosque? Why this moment? To understand the bombing, we must understand the larger pattern. A. Sectarian violence. Shia Muslims, a minority in Pakistan, have long been targeted by extremist Sunni groups including ISK and factions of the Pakistani Taliban, TTP. This attack fits into that pattern. B. A surge in militancy. Pakistan has seen a sharp rise in militant attacks in recent years, especially near the Afghan border. Even Islamabad, usually heavily guarded, has not been immune. This was the second major attack in the capital in 3 months. C. A state under strain. Political instability, economic crisis, and a long-standing imbalance between civilian governments and the military have weakened the state's ability to respond decisively. The aftermath: a nation in mourning. A. Mass funerals and public grief. Thousands gathered in Islamabad to bury the victims. The funerals were filled with anger, sorrow, and a sense of abandonment. B. Arrests and crackdowns. Police arrested suspects in Peshawar, including 2 brothers and a woman believed to be linked to the bomber. Security operations intensified across the region. C. Political reactions. Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif vowed to bring the perpetrators to justice and called for unity against terrorism. President Asif Ali Zardari thanked the international community for its condolences. D. International tensions. Pakistan's defense minister blamed Indian-backed proxies, a claim India dismissed as baseless. This exchange reflects how terrorism often becomes entangled with regional rivalries. The deeper story: why Pakistan remains vulnerable. A. The military's dominance. Since independence, Pakistan's military has shaped national policy, often sidelining democratic institutions. This has weakened civilian governance and created power vacuums exploited by extremists. B. The use of militants as strategic assets. For decades, various governments tolerated or supported certain militant groups for regional influence. That strategy has repeatedly backfired. C. Sectarian ideology. Decades of state-sanctioned religious nationalism have created fertile ground for sectarian hatred. D. Economic fragility. A struggling economy limits the state's ability to invest in policing, intelligence, and social cohesion. E. The Afghan factor. The porous border and the rise of the Taliban in Afghanistan have emboldened extremist networks. Human stories, the heart of the episode. Bring in the voices of survivors and families. A man who lost his brother said he heard gunshots, then a massive explosion, and later found his brother among the dead. Police officers described the scene as a nightmare, very horrible. These testimonies remind viewers that behind every statistic is a shattered family. What this means for Pakistan and the region. This bombing is not just an attack on a mosque. It is an attack on Pakistan's fragile social fabric. The idea of religious coexistence. The hope that the capital city is safe. The belief that the state can protect its citizens. It also signals a dangerous regional trend, IS Khorasan's growing ambition, targeting Pakistan, Iran, and even Russia in recent years. Final message for Truth Frame. A nation is not broken by bombs alone. It is broken when its people stop believing in each other. Pakistan's story is not finished. But unless its leaders confront the roots of sectarian hatred, political instability, and the misuse of religion, tragedies like Islamabad 2026 will continue to haunt its future. The victims of the Khadija Tul Kubra Mosque deserve more than condolences. They deserve a country that finally chooses peace over power, unity over division, and truth over denial. If this tragedy teaches us anything, it is that no nation can survive when its people turn against one another. The bombs that tear through mosques do not just kill worshippers, they tear at the soul of Pakistan itself. This insanity must stop. No faith, no sect, no community deserves to live in fear. The future of Pakistan will not be shaped by militants or politicians alone, but by ordinary Pakistanis who choose understanding over suspicion and tolerance over hatred. If you believe in a Pakistan where every citizen, Sunni, Shia, Christian, Hindu, or anyone else, can pray, live, and dream without fear, then let that belief guide your voice, your actions, and your conversations. Extremism grows in silence. Unity grows when people stand together. Let us stand together, for peace, for dignity, and for a Pakistan that finally becomes the home its founders hoped it would be.